Chinese netizens shared the news of President Trump's C-19 infection on October 2nd, and also lots of netizens left inappropriate comments on the state-run CCTV news about Trump. The whole world is celebrating. It's a godsend on Chinese National Day. In this way, there were tens of thousands of derisive criticisms, including the hope that he would develop health problems and a comparison of a situation in China and the US. Although the number of people who got infected in China has almost returned to zero, still Trump is banning the Chinese people from entering the US. What a shame. Some even hosted cell phone sales to celebrate the infection of the Trump's couple. Hu Xijin, editor of Global Times, tweeted, "President Trump and the First Lady have paid a price for not taking the C-19 seriously." But a few hours later, he deleted that tweet. However, the same post was published on Weibo with more criticism of Trump and the situation in US, and thousands of comments and likes followed this post. The source of the information is unknown, but China's state-run CCTV even aired the news that more than 20 people are infected in the White House from Trump's team. They stated, according to statistics, more than 20 people from the White House, Trump campaign team, and related staff have been diagnosed as positive. And even though Xi Jinping knew about Trump's infection, he didn't send a condolence letter to President Trump for 2 days. In the letter, he said, "As soon as I heard the news of the Trump couple's infection, my wife and I were very sorry and wished them a speedy recovery." However, this letter arrived later than that of Russian President Putin and North Korea leader Kim Jong-un. In 2012, when the 9/11 attacks occurred, China celebrated America's misfortunes. But at the time, President Jiang Zemin was quick to express his condolences to President Bush, and that laid China's opportunity to improve relations with the US. But this was a big mistake from the US and a huge opportunity for China. President Bush's focus on the terrorism in the Middle East gave China's rapid economic growth that was accompanied by corrupt and unfair trade. So China could grow unchecked, and China calls that period as a decade of golden development. Therefore, Xi Jinping also hoped for a dramatic turnaround like 9/11. He hoped for a new decade of golden development. In the meantime, however, President Trump seems certain of his re-election success, because last year he took economic figures including the US stock market to record highs. But because of the sudden outbreak of Wuhan pneumonia, a major problem arose for him. In the presidential election just a month ago, President Trump was infected. So far, things have seemed to be going as Xi Jinping expected. However, in reality, a situation occurred that Xi Jinping did not expect. This is because the United States is reacting calmly and united, as if it had a situation under control. Vice President Pence reassured the public, but was not influenced by President Trump's absence and said, "I promise to continue to fight with the president for faith, family, and freedom." Even Biden, embroiled in the heated debates the day before, tweeted that he was praying for the health of the president's family. This is not a time to focus on the partisan disputes, but a time to focus as American. Let's unite as one nation. Although President Trump's tweet uploaded early in the morning, more than 520,000 comments were posted on the first day. Most of them wished for a speedy recovery. Also, pray and rallies for the Trump's recovery continued to throughout the US. In particular, from European leaders like Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Merkel, Brazilian President Bolsonaro, and other South American leaders, Putin, and even Kim Jong-un sent a message to Trump. So in this situation, the isolation of Xi Jinping was more noticeable. And Chinese experts expect that this gamble of Xi Jinping is doomed to fail. This is due to the analysis that this incident will attract everyone's attention and get sympathy votes for President Trump, which could give him an advantage in re-election. In fact, British Prime Minister Johnson and Brazilian President Bolsonaro saw their approval ratings soar after infection. Also, the sentiment against China has increased in both countries, and the UK also had Huawei banned from it. Meanwhile, Xi Jinping's greatest concern has arrived. The US Republicans are once again bringing China's responsibility to the foreign relation to C-19 and are already showing the signs of stricter sanctions against China. Senator Kelly Loeffler criticized China. We must hold China accountable for even infecting our president and endangering the lives of millions. Senator Mark Walker also said, China has officially intervened in our election. Meanwhile, the fate of the CCP is also of great concern among overseas Chinese. Current affairs critic Qin Feng criticized the Chinese for being pleased with Trump's infection. Trump's infection will further strengthen the anti-Chinese sentiment among Americans, like Japan's surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. It is not the time for communist Chinese people to celebrate. It is time for them to grieve over a disaster. Wei Yangongi, a Hong Kong businessman who moved to the US this year to escape the CCP's persecution, said, now President Trump has a reason to launch a preemptive attack. The CCP's collapse will accelerate in the future. In fact, the US government took immediate action. On October 2nd, the day of President Trump's news, the US Immigration Service banned every applications for permanent residence and immigration of Chinese who joined the Communist Party of China. Some Chinese media analyzed the current situation as follows. This policy has already been implicitly implemented by the US Immigration Service since last year. In fact, several Chinese people have already been asked by the Immigration Service if they are a member of the Chinese Communist Party, and when they answered yes to the question, they were denied entry. Now it seems like the US wants to banish the CCP from the country by all means. Thanks for watching. Be safe.